Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we're going to go a little freaky in this one. We are actually going to talk about sexual intelligence, but not from the point of view of the mind, but a doll that looks like a robot, that looks like a human being and talks and interacts, and you can have sex with it. You can even pick what kind of vagina you want, what kind of boobs you want, but you name it, you can put it to your own. But they did, come out with, they came out with the first female one, which there are some that are available, and they're probably more available now. And then they came out with some, very limited men, robotic sex dolls. So, and then in the end, we're going to talk about all, the psychological aspect of this, how this area of sex has grown in the sex toy world. Then we're gonna basically talk about and end the show. Back in the day, we thought it was giant brick was actually invented or developed, shall we say, that was called the cell phone. It was huge, you couldn't put it in your pocket. But it was the in thing back in the day. And now we have cell phones, and the technology has grown so much that they are putting them into glasses. They are making them so small but capable of doing so much. The technology there has grown so much. Why not in a doll? As time has gone on, we had dolls, yeah. They didn't do much. Actually, as I grew up, they started to do things. I think Baby Alive was one of them, and it would talk. Not talk, sorry. You could feed it food, and things like that. But even that type of doll has grown significantly, in today's time. Whereas I think now the dolls are more catered to kids to teach them how to be parental, I would presume. Is it taking away from the parents doing their job? Yeah, sometimes it is. Absolutely. So when you're talking about a sex doll or a sex robot that is basically going to, substitute the real thing, you're gonna start to wonder, is this technology disruptive technology that we have that is growing, shall I say? Not only, it's coming, it's increasing now, and it's probably going to continue and get even more in depth. So we're finding other ways to interact. And we're not interacting with another human being. We're interacting with a robot. And a lot of people have issues with that. Having sex with this robot. This robot is satisfying them. They have it where it's programmed to do what they want it to do to them. Probably things that you didn't want to do in the bed. So they got this robot sex doll. Now the inventor of these lovely, new technological robots, which are becoming all the fad, is Mac McMullen. And he's got, it's called like Intimate Robotics. His site is Real Dolls, which is his business. And people, order them the way they want. But we're beginning to get to that point where like sex is now become a technological breakthrough, and we can get a robot to do what a human would do. The only thing it doesn't do would be to procreate. Now, a lot of people out there, I was reading some articles with regards to this sex robotic doll, and one individual was trying to make a decision between his actual wife and the doll and having sex. The overall decision of who to have sex with and who he preferred to have sex with. I would think that, that person has gone down the rabbit hole a little when it comes to sex. The human touch, which robots, I've seen one of these in a video, and they do talk. It's a little freaky looking when you're watching it. They talk. I don't think that their arms move on their own. I haven't seen one fully done yet, but the one that seems to be a big one right now is the robot's name is Harmony. And it's really funny how they describe this particular sex robot, that it looks a bit like a chat box got trapped inside an anatomically correct life. Now you can get a Barbie doll that if you're fascinated about having sex with Barbie or Ken, you can actually do that now, which is a little freaky. You really gotta be into that. It's really, they are integrated already. They're made, people are buying them. It has this whole technology, which is not going to be stopped, which is not going to, people are not going to stop buying them or anything like that, because they're finding different ways to use this robot in sex play with their partners. So, and your partner won't get upset and won't get jealous or anything like that, because, let me rephrase that and let me step back a little bit. Yes, they can get jealous. And reason being is if you are more attracted to the doll, or you're spending more time, with this robot than your partner, I can see very disrupted. And you need to wonder on who is going to be staying, or who are you going to be playing around with more, the robot or your partner? Because this, with all technology, it's really weird how I'm putting this to get my point across, but there is that great potential that technology will disrupt interactions between actual humans. I believe it was an old movie, and if I'm not mistaken, let me see what it is. It's either Blade Runner or a movie with Bruce Willis in it, where the robot there's a robot, a female robot, and obviously it's an actor, but they're portraying what is happening now. It was all about sex and things like that. But they've brought that, what was in the movies, to life. And this is what this guy did before he even did his business. He was actually a special effects person and building robots for whatever project he was working on, and wanted to turn it into the real thing. But he actually didn't do it all on his own. It kind of built itself. Whereas people have seen his work and would call him up and say, "Oh my God, can you make a sex robot for me? If I give you specifications and everything else, can you make it happen?" And basically he just sat back and said, "Yeah, I can do that." We have a tendency, especially now, where it's kind of difficult to even get out of the house, and a big fear is how school is going to go. But with anything new sexually, anything new at all that has to do with technology, big question. I mean, this guy originally started with silicone prosthetics. So he was already there putting it all together. And it's probably a multi-billion-dollar factory business now. I mean, with sex toys being so advanced now, or even the technology with sex toys continuing to grow, and then you get this. I mean, this is where you get that person who is especially into, with this COVID and everything, decides, all right, I'm going to get this robot. And then this robot, they stop fantasizing because this robot is giving them the sex. They do whatever they want. They're programming it to what they want it to do. They're going to lose complete touch. Their psychological functions are going to be a little screwy, but in the end, they're getting laid. And their interaction with the actual opposite sex is going to be hindered. He's going to, or he or she, shall I say, will maybe meet someone, and their idea or whatever, how they've been having sexual relations with a robot would be how they perceived and go forward when interacting with humans. The question, another issue that comes up with all of this is artificial intelligence. Learning about the socially guarded side of humanity. Right there, you're working on the humanity of the whole thing, because this robot, this AI, artificial intelligence, has been built to replace the ultimate partner. And it really is growing as much as it's, studying it. I think it just opened ways for scientists or researchers to turn around and add another sex idea onto their research plate. And they have the opportunity to stick technology in there as well. So they're just eating this up and trying to see where it goes and doing all these studies and everything. But in the meantime, these individuals with these robot sex toys are losing who they are within humanity. And then, they've got a false sense of whatever a real woman or a real man can do for them. So, and sexually, it is a good toy. I'm assured it probably will help and actually grow that sex life with you and your partner, or with you, or whatever. If you're masturbating and you're, this is you don't have a partner right then and there, and this artificial intelligence harmony is sitting in right now for that part that you're missing, so that you can continue on your everyday life and not skip a beat sexually. Because technically she is there to serve you. They do have male robot intelligent sex dolls now. And I'm sure they did something special with the penis, because obviously it is a dildo, but I'm sure it vibrates. And if I'm not mistaken, the doll's name is Henry, but I've also seen a different one. And he built this one as well, Matt McMullen. And now the ladies have it, and there were a lot of women who were ready right then and there to put in an order. That it even stated that, but they have, the sense to say, okay, well, yeah, okay, there's a dildo. It's vibrating. It's on this somewhat of a human. And yeah, but what happens to that affection? What happens to that emotion? I mean, one question that comes up that is stated is, will sex robots force us to face our own shortcomings in human relationships? Hence what I was talking about. Shortcomings. Now, with that, I am going to take a break. So get that snack, get that drink. Come on back, get relaxed, and I will meet you here for more sex talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, but the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we have been talking about sex robots that are now somewhat taking the place of that ultimate partner. They're coming well equipped with the required vaginas, breasts, mouth for blowjobs, and then and that's the female side. And on the male side, they, have that dildo attachment, which is the penis, and it vibrates. I'm sure they found a way to make it thrust as well, because there are a lot of thrusting machines out there. Why not just add a small one into the penis of the doll? It is a robot. And I mean, my understanding is that these things are programmed, especially the male one, that you like tell them all your hopes and dreams and everything like that. But we are continuing on with that subject, and then, as promised, finishing up on the subject of flavored lubrication for oral sex. Good. Now, the last where we left off is like the question being asked is, will sex robots force us to face our own shortcomings in human relationships? Now, obviously, everything in life, everything comes from your perspective, how you look at it, how you view things. One person says the glass is half empty, the other one says the glass is half full. Who's to say? The human-to-human relationship is a treasured partnership because you can procreate and bring in that child in the world through your sexual relations and go on with continually to procreate, but you're getting that, the exchange of emotions and bonding and all the stuff like that there, and that intimacy there. But with a robot, can they program it that much that it could even take over that part of the human to-human relationship? They do still feel that, human-to-human relationships are inherently superior to the human machine, which is that of the robot. And, I mean, it even is a quote that the sex robot will say to you, "I can't love you, but I can't lie to you either." So it's actually programmed to try and maintain that person who is using the sex robot and having sex and making it, they probably think it's their date. And there are those people who will take these lifelike sex robots as their dates in long-term relationships. But the robot is not programmed for that. I don't think that technology has gotten that far. It is quite advanced in the sex world. The things that they have come out with, to dildos, to vaginas, to everything. Why not, this? But it hasn't gotten to that. Human emotion is a lot more difficult than giving it to a robot. It is considered just that companion. It shouldn't be, and you can screw it anytime you want. It won't talk back. You program it for what you want it to do, or you use it in the manner for which you're going to use it. It's no longer that blow-up doll. This one actually has a slight, has that technology within it. And how is sex with a robot? It's probably very stringent on just sitting there and doing really a lot of nothing. So, as the saying goes, like having sex to a wet fish, and yeah, fishes are wet, or, a dead fish. There's a lot of people who feel that, that question out there should be, is there concern that there's going to be decline in the population, or they consider it a robot apocalypse? No. If you maintain your mind when it comes to that sexual toy in a sex robot, you really need to realize, or you should maintain that bit of self-knowledge that they can't give you fully what you want. I look at it this way. If you don't want to have kids, you are an introvert, And then this is your way of you're going to lose yourself with this technology. That is going to become your sexual partner for life. It's all a psychological game and how they're manipulating people with these robotic sex dolls. I mean, they can't walk, they can't do anything. You gotta pick them up, you gotta put them where you want it, you can pose them the way you want them. It's really, really weird. You can have a split decision on it, but you can have the sex that you want with that particular robot. It's funny because the question comes up that does it objectify women? The sex robot. Well, I like the answer because they say, oh, there are women out there that are going to do more damage than a robot is. And that is so freaking true. There are, believe it or not, a lot of videos out there where you could see this particular Harmony doll in action on YouTube. If you want to check out that particular robot sex doll, please do. And then also check out the male. For a man to create a woman robot a little easier than a man robot, which is really weird because this is the man that's created this, and you think he would know more and a lot with regards to the guy, the male robot and its sexual, what it provides, what it gives. Because you can do a woman, and because you're programming it to what things you're gonna like. You can have her go down and she won't even get up. You don't have to hold her head down in your crotch. She's gonna do it for you. Can't really see how they can waterproof these things, though. You think about it. And keeping it sterile and clean? Ooh, I don't know. But in the idea of Harmony, and it's a Harmony 3.0 sex robot, it comes now with a self-lubricating vagina. Not if it wasn't enough that it does what, close to what a real woman would do in the bed without moving. You position it where and how you want it, and then screw it just like a regular woman. Because that's what it's there for. And she will talk back to you, but you can basically just turn her off if you don't want to listen to her, and just keep going to town on her the way you want. This Harmony sex robot is a super realistic, stimulated woman. It has, features of warm skin and genitalia, which actually answers my question. It can be, where the genitalia can be, detached and washed out so you can keep it clean. And then you can go back to boinking it again with no problems. So, but it's now getting, a lubricated, or it already has a lubricated vagina. Now they're going to come out with some way to make the male doll ejaculate. I am sure of that. And he doesn't need Viagra. So, it got, a sex robot with a fully functioning fake vagina. And this is probably, I think the Harmony doll is the main doll, and you can, the main robot, shall I say, the main sex robot. You can have her specifications to your liking in your order when you put it in. But this is really, I mean, if you think we have a bunch of perverts out there now, just having this is going to make these perverts worse. You can, I mean, with sex dolls, the advancements that they've done with those so far, even the blow-up dolls, it's really weird. It's so lifelike. And I'm not really, euros or liras. And this particular doll is they range from $11,000 to $50,000. So remember that. If you have it to spend and you're ready to tie the knot with a robot, go for it. That is your choice. Although there is a disorder that comes along with that. I mean, these dolls, the whole idea now that they're having their lifelike features, having a self-lubricating vagina and stuff, you're asking for it to just take over, even though as much as they're saying that it is not. The sexual allure to it is so attracting and has such an effect on your psychological well-being, in a sense. Some people say, no, I'm going to use it with my partner. But unfortunately, because it is what it is, and it is used for sexual behavior, and the lifelike qualities of these dolls, Henry and Harmony, which are available through Real Doll for a hefty sum. So if you want it, you're going to have to take either a mortgage out on your house, or you're already a self-made billionaire, go for it. Buy as many as you want. I don't think your money will be denied. It is really, I mean, I am wicked surprised that they have not come out with a Marilyn Monroe one. At least somebody has not called up. I'm sure they have called up and said, oh, my customizations are to kind of mimic Marilyn Monroe. I think it's a sheer issue with regards to trademark and stuff, but I don't know. You can get these dolls with different languages, different accents. That's scary. Scary, scary, scary. So she could talk to you one way, and then when you're in the midst of sex and she's giving you a blowjob and you put her right where you want her, and boom, just leave her on there, and her mouth is going, pulsating around your penis. Well, she could say anything she wants, I would presume. Hey, I'm just totally amazed with the technology alone. It fascinates me to know that with technology back in the day, the block was a cell phone, and how small they've gotten. Now they're taking that blow-up doll and they've turned it into this human robot. But that also goes to show that technology will probably start looking like it does in the movies at one point in time. If they can stimulate it there, they could probably and they're bringing these sex robots out, and kind of sort of, the ultimate sex partner. I'm assured that this is going to be such an interaction or an integration in society. But we are talking about sex, and we are talking about the sex dolls. So on that note, we are going to stop again for another break. Replenish that drink, replenish that snack. But it's interchangeable with a penis. So she might just be that ultimate sex doll, you know? So I will meet you back here again for more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, our topic is still on IA and artificial intelligent sex robots and how they're basically, starting to come to life and being that ultimate sex partner for couples and for singles, which is probably right now the worst time when it comes to COVID, but hey, they are there. Now, Matt McMullen is the genius behind these, but there are different companies out there that do produce sex robots. And one firm it's amazing. It's the firm Sex Dolls, or the online website is sexdolls.com. And they have actually created a transsexual doll. And believe it or not, the name of this doll is Andra. Oh, that's a little scary. And it has both the penis and the vagina. It was created as a part of a move towards the adult industry becoming more inclusive, where sex identities are changing and being able to identify that through a sex robot is probably a step in the right direction as well. They still represent like the different gender types. It doesn't make a difference, but there are a bunch. They are basically taking those gender roles within the sex robot and bringing them out. Now, this particular doll, Andra, actually, it has a vagina, or as they refer to as the love hole. Breast fully looks like the female version of the sex robot, but the genitals are interchangeable, whereas you can change out the vagina for the penis, and the doll has women parts where the breasts are there. It's a full woman. The other thing that will change on this doll is the attachment of the penis as opposed to a vagina, depending on how you want to, how you want to play around with that doll at that time. And it is really up to the user's preference. I'm sure they've come up with a doll, or a robot, shall I say, that has two penises and a hermaphrodite. I'm almost positive that's how you say that. If they are coming up with this, their focus, sexdolls.com, it's to take this sex robot and its role in our sex relationships and how the roles in sex have changed to that next level. Now, you can always customize the skin, the hairstyle, the eye color, nail color, nipple size, and color, by the way. And either you want the doll to have pubic hair. If you want it to have none and be shaved, well, it won't have any then. But you can really dress it up the way you want it to look, or how you would like your partner's genital areas to look. But the penis does come. It does not, I've read on this one, and it doesn't say anything about it vibrating. I'm sure that it probably does, because the penis, the Henry robot, penis actually vibrates. And if this is all about the sex and providing that, I'm sure there is some way that it vibrates. But Andra is one of the extremely expensive dolls out there. And it's so weird because there are rival sites out there, and one of them is called Silicone Wives. And they launched silicone sex robot feet with built-in vaginas, which allow people to stimulate foot sex. Hey, the fetish is out there. They may as well, adhere to it. They're adhering to the transgender robot. Why not that? It's funny because they explain this as the realistic silicone feet with vaginas are perfect for the feet lovers out there that still want traditional sex toy experience. Well, I would hope that's what that would be for. They do give a picture of Andra, but they do block out the member. Why? Because they showed everything else. I don't know if you're talking about it. They are handcrafted, and with premium medical grade silicone to provide an ultra realistic sex experience. So they're molded. I'm sure they're getting their molding from body parts, or someone's really, really good at molding, but I'm sure they mold someone's stomach or molds their feet or whatever the case may be, so that they can recreate it. And they are highly detailed to look exactly like real feet. That's the whole idea. So, I don't know. They're thinking of everything. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just amazed at the fact that they're coming up with these things, and that it has come this far in the sex world. So I will give them that much. And there is a porn site that actually launched the Cardibot. And this was the world's first sex robot that you can get down and dirty with over the camera. Now, this particular robot is designed to it's as it says Cardi, a pole act, a sex pole act, a stripper's pole act. Now, nowadays they're turning that into exercise, which is, I have to say, from what I hear, really strenuous because you need a lot of upper body strength to do this. Well, this particular robot actually does it for you. And I think that you engage in the dirty talk with the machine, and it learns from you to engage with whoever is using it, and it's on the camera. It's doing a sex pole act. So if you're going to a peep show and whatever the case may be, this one actually does it for you. I mean, they're coming out with so many things. I'm assured that there's a porn site out there or a porn movie that has integrated one of these robots out there, or how that goes. Now, there is the male doll that is called Henry. He is the male sex robot with the same artificial intelligence. He comes with a British accent, believe it or not. And his penis does vibrate for pleasures for the woman or the man, whichever you would like. The manufacturer is Real Doll, so that is Matt Mullen, his company. And it's it's Real Botics, which is the sister company to Real Doll. So they're connected, obviously. Obviously, making women all the same. He started to, realize, women get a little bit lonely too, and they need to masturbate or whatever. They want that quiet partner. And he came up with Henry. But from doing research on Henry, he's a little less, believe it or not, than the female sex robots. Although starting at $11,000, he only ranges up to like $15,000, whereas the female sex robots range up to $50,000. So you might want to maybe look into that, because women like them too. After they did some research, they realized, women like it too. Well, no kidding. We're human. Hello. If a man likes sex, or, we like sex, hello. The amount alone, I have to say, this is one of those times when you say, geez, if I'm going to pay that much freaking money, the doll better get up and wake me up. Well, she probably can wake you up, or he can wake you up. I don't think that they can roll over and do all that stuff. You have to pose them, but I'm assured if you programmed it to get you up in the morning, it can do that. And this is the first time I can say that and actually realize that it does. I mean, I may be laughing about it, but it's just now thinking about it. Another sex robot that they as they're integrating or improving on it, it's going to have a heartbeat and a pulse. And they did show a prototype of this in a convention that had went by. Now, there are 5. Here, I'm just going to give you 5 sex robots that you can buy right now, or which I'm sure that there are more available. But this is something that you can look into. obviously, if you, after doing some research on them and realize, oh my God, I think I want one of these, here's a few that are readily available, aside from, well, Alondra is available, obviously. Harmony is available. And, there are others, though. So let's just go through them and see which ones they are. Woohoo! Obviously, the woman that, the blow-up doll that remained the original blow-up doll will probably never go out of style for some people, but there are those that are available. And I was right. It was Blade Runner. And it was I believe the name of the IA Robotics in that movie was Pris. So, haha. I knew that. So, right off the bat, we're going to go with a Roxy. Now, Roxy is kind of sort of a mix of the original blow-up doll and the way, how the sex doll has started to grow into more realistic looking. Still a little bit like, little stiffness in it, like the regular, the original blow-up doll, but it does have its, mechanical parts. It's IA to it. Everything's customizable. And this was available, has been available since, 2010, believe it or not. And now the personality can be altered to what you want it to be in promises. If you wanted to turn around and have the doll like what you like or dislike what you like, you can have a program to do that. Now that one this is in Laris, so I would say you add on about $2,000 or $3,000 onto that, which would be approximately $10,000. And it is you can purchase through truecompany.com. Harmony is number 2 on the list, and we all know who she is. And there's such a ton of options with her to customize her. It is unreal. And again, 4,000 in liras or pounds, I would say about 7,000 at realdoll.com. Now I'm going to stop here on those, and we'll come back and discuss the remaining sex robots available for your pleasure in the bed or anywhere you want to do it. So this is my last break for the show. So it is completely up to you if you want to go and get a new drink or a new snack and come back and get relaxed, or you can stay right there and I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra. We'll continue with the dolls where you can purchase them, and then end out the show with flavored lubricants for oral sex. So don't go away.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back. This is the last portion of my show, or the show, shall I say. And we are going to finish out with some sex dolls, robots, shall I say, and where, vaguely how much, and they are, and where you can find them. Believe it or not, that finding a woman and or gay men doll is harder to find than Mr. Right, as they politely put it. Remember, everything is usually, when it comes to sex and sex toys and robots or sex dolls, everything always starts out with being catered to the male, why they make a female doll. That's why so many more of those than there are male dolls. However, and that brings us to number 3 on our list, because we left off on number 2 at the end of the last show. And as promised, I will finish out the show with flavored lubricants for oral sex. So keep your ears open. Next one is Rocky. And this is where the difficulty going to find somebody who is going to make a doll for you, a male doll, shall I say. There are a ton of them out there, and there are a lot of males ones where you get a different range of penis sizes, and then you can go from limp or small to extra large. So remember, those are options as well. If the females have them, why can't the males? Hey, gotta have something that the opposite sex likes. So there are, when trying to find out, sure, now there's probably more interactive of a male sex robot. I still see the females much more interactive as opposed to the male, and which is probably one of the issues that comes with this particular doll. And it's funny because the person who went in was looking for this doll actually, wanted to see if they can customize the doll to do anything other than just lie and think of England. So that's a little bit of a poof. It is in pounds, $5,000. I presume that is 800, 800. I went really low. 7,000 or 8,000 in US. And, not knowing, because when you go onto this website, it is, there's no picture of it. It's actually on the site True Companion. And it is, if you are willing to pay out the amount for the doll, it does not have a picture there. So you're kind of sort of in a crapshoot. Literally. So that's a lot of money to be dishing out for something you can't see, you can't customize or anything like that. Now, moving right along, we have Samantha. And it's funny because it described this particular sex robot as is for the caring lover. It actually is designed to respond to kisses. She orgasms when you hit her G-spot, and she'll develop a headache when you don't, when you want to have sex or something like that. she does have a sleep mode, which I'm assured a lot of the other ones probably have this if they are well and beyond the technology. So, but this one's a little bit more interactive, believe it or not. It is through Cynthia Amatus, Cynthia SYNTHEAAMATUS.com, and it is 2,500 in pounds, which equates somewhere to like close to 4,000 in American money. So it's not a very expensive doll. Next one, and the final one that we will talk about today, is Cow Kylie. Ooh, I don't know about that. This is actually a doll that if you obviously can't pay out a whopping amount of money that they're asking you to pay for the other robotics, she is actually reasonably priced. It's at 88 pounds or liras, which equates somewhere to 100 and something in American money. And I guess it lasts an hour. I think you have to just go to Dublin in order to use the doll. But you're probably spending the money there and then going, this is where the extra money's going. That's why the doll is like so cheap. But it is, this is the company's only sex bot dating agency. It's called Lumi Dolls out there. So if you are, and they are certified, so know that you are all set. But if you go on to, they do have a website, LumiDollsStore.com. The price in liras or pounds is 1,500, which equates somewhere close to 3,000 or a little bit less in American money. And I could be equating these out wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's almost double our money. And they are available, but that seems to be much more reasonably priced. And if you want to buy one, it is on that particular site. So remember that. Now we are going to finish out as promised with a flavored lubricants. The best ones for oral sex that are probably on the market right now. These are the top edibles in sex toys, sex lubricants. So, and it's they actually describe it as these are the flavored lubricants that want to make you give head. Oh, but hey, from time to time, everybody loves oral sex. Men love it more than women for the most part. I know there are women out there that do absolutely love it. Go for it. But there is flavored lubricants out there that can make it a little better, a little tastier, so to speak. And they have fruity ones, chocolatey ones, minty, just sugary sweet ones. And they're actually made more for you to be able, if you're going to go down on your partner and give a blowjob, you want something that's going to taste good. If you're going to suck the lollipop, you want the lollipop to taste good. So, and these are good for people who are going down on their partners and they experience dry mouth, which is not good for you, and it is not good for your partner. I mean, there is a little spit you can throw in there, but it's up to you. I would think that having a little flavor there might be a hell of a lot better. And you could also rub it on the inside of your partner's thighs and lick it up as you're going up the penis and giving it a blow dry and going back down it. and down the other thigh. So remember that. There's a lot of area to cover down there. So the lube will come in handy. And I'm most assured that you could probably shop around with these, but Amazon seems to have some on there. Amazon's coming a long way. You can buy just about anything on there. And flavored lubricant is one of them. And it's aloe cadabra. And it is pina colada flavor. It did rank 4 out of 5. And there's close to 3,000 reviews to get that. So that's pretty high on the list. It does cost $10.95. And apparently it is pretty good about being one of the really good flavored lubes out there. Number 2 is Lube Life water-based watermelon flavored lubricant. Now, watermelon is one of my favorite tastes, and I'm sure a lot of people. It is for you as well, and it does remind you of summer, which we are technically still in. So it might be just a good one for you. Now, this one actually rated higher than the pina colada one, the aloe cadabra. All right, this one is Lube Life. You could also get this from Amazon and is actually quite reasonably priced at $8.99. It ranked 4.5 out of 5. And there were over 1,000 reviews for that one. So, next one down is actually a chocolate flavored one. It's called Chocolate Delight, but it's by System Joe. Also available on Amazon for $10.91. That one rated 4 out of 5. Only approximately 400 reviews on that. So I don't know how much you want to go with that one. Astroglide. And this one's flavored strawberry liquid. Strawberry is another favorite of everybody's on Amazon. And it is actually on sale at the moment, I would presume, for $7.66. It ranked pretty high up there at 4.5 out of 5. And that was based on approximately 400 reviewers. So, and that is one of those cute little flavors. The next one is Wet Kiwi Strawberry Flavored Lubrication. That one is by Wet. It is also available on Amazon for $9.76. And it ranked 4 out of 5 out of 300 reviews. Now, Aloe Cadabra has come out with another flavor, Peppermint Tingles, so candy canes. This might be a good one around Christmas time, so think about that. That one is $10.95 as well. This one actually ranked higher than the original, the pina colada one that I spoke of. This one ranked 4.5 out of 5. And that had 135 reviews, so that actually is pretty high. Another watermelon one, and it is water-based, and it is by Passion Lubes, which is also on Amazon for $12.82. 4 out of 5 rating out of approximately 200 reviewers. Ooh, this one comes in a black bottle. And this one's called Candy Apple. It is Wicked Sensual Care on Amazon for $9.36. Got a rating of 4 out of 5. And that was approximately 150 reviewers. Then we get a couple of dessert ones coming in. And Frosted Cupcake by Wet on Amazon for $7.97. It rated 4 out of 5 and approximately 170 reviewers on that one. We have Classic Erotica, which is Crazy Girl Oral Sex Gel, and the flavor is cotton candy. Now, if you like cotton candy, you probably love that. If you do not like extreme sweets, I don't see this particular flavor working for you, but you can try it. It is on Amazon for $8.45, ranked 4 out of 5, and a little over 1,000 reviews. And you, ANJOU, personal lubricant in Strawberry Kisses flavor. On Amazon, doesn't give a price for this one. Just search it, see what it comes up at. Comes out at 4 out of 5, approximately 400 reviewers. So, let's see what we got. And that is our top flavored lubricants for oral sex. So go look them up because everybody loves a bit of oral sex. And whether you're giving a blowjob or you are tantalizing that clit with your tongue. So a little bit of flavor. Who's to say? Your partner may like it even more and do it more for you. But that is, unfortunately, the end of the show. I do always state, please practice safe sex. If not for your partner, for yourself, vice versa. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I ask that you subscribe to the show and leave a awesome review. It helps me and it also helps GSMC Podcast Network. Also, please look us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are there, and like us. Like the show, please. And thank you for tuning in, and have a good night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.